Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and thanks for being here. This video is for the Cancer New Moon, which is happening on the 25th of June. I actually started working on this on the 21st of June, and that was the date of the June solstice. So that's the summer solstice up in the Northern Hemisphere, and that would be their longest day of the year. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's the winter solstice, and that makes it our shortest day of the year. And the solstices and equinoxes, they all relate to the start of a new season, and they're all related to cardinal signs. So we really are all experiencing a new season as of now. Now, for regular watchers, I've not posted many videos in the last couple of weeks. It's been quite a busy time, and I haven't felt 100% either. So I gave myself a bit of a break, but there is another reading that I haven't quite recorded yet, but it will probably come out after this lunar video. Sometimes I think there is a bit of divine timing with everything, and so the videos just come out when they're meant to. Of course, the YouTube algorithm will punish me every time I fall out of schedule, but it is what it is. I mean, we're people, not machines. So sorry if you've been expecting more, but I haven't felt up to it really. All right, well, we'll get started with this video. The format's just the same as always. We'll take a quick look at the astrology chart, and then we'll follow it with the tarot spread that came up for the new moon. I'll have the timestamps for each section in the description box. Now, before we start, we'll just do our love pause as we normally do. So this is where we pause the video and take a minute to intentionally send some loving energy out into the universe. You can also just do a Ho'oponopono prayer, which is where you say the 4 sentences. Thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, and please forgive me. So everyone that wants to do this, the time to pause is now, and I'll see you all on the next slide. And thanks a lot if you do it. Okay, so this is our new moon chart. Now, I personally find that the tarot and astrology often connect with each other, but if astrology is not your thing, you can just skip through to the tarot section. That's totally fine. Now, highlighted in purple at the bottom of this chart are the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, which are all conjunct in the sign of Cancer. So right off the bat, I have to say that I love that because Jupiter is a benefic planet and it's associated with luck and expansion. And I have a feeling Jupiter is actually exalted in Cancer, so it's a very good placement. So this just feels like a great energy to have at this new moon. So if you haven't set any new moon intentions, I think it might be a good idea to get working on those because like Jupiter is just a great influence to have here. In terms of positive aspects, there's also a sextile coming. A sextile between these planets in Cancer and and Mars in Virgo, which is highlighted in yellow. And sextiles are obviously positive aspects as well. Now, Mars is the action planet. It relates to our divine masculine aspect, and Virgo is a great sign for establishing new routines and structures because it's an earth sign and it's very much about the practicalities of our physical life. So that's good because it seems like whatever intentions you have, there's this ability to translate them into structures and into routines. So that's a great aspect there as well. But there's also a tough aspect to this conjunction in Cancer, and that's coming from the planets in Aries, which are Saturn and Neptune, and they're highlighted in red. And I think I talked about Jupiter squaring those planets at the last lunar reading, and I didn't see it as too bad there. And I'm not sure that I see it as too bad here either. So I just felt it was about making sure that any new beginnings that you're initiating do feel comfortable to you. So Cancer is the sign that relates to family and home, and it's also a water sign, so it deals with the emotional aspects of life. And Jupiter in Cancer is positive energy in that territory. So I think I pointed out last time as well that Jupiter moves faster than Neptune and Saturn, so it's going to pass through Cancer a bit more quickly than those two will get through Aries. So this square aspect, it's a temporary one, and I'm just seeing it as a question like, is this new beginning going to feel safe and comfortable? And I say that because that's what Cancerian energy would want, Cancer is very much about the home and family, as I said, and so it's going to be very much about how does this feel? Like, is this good? Is this safe? Is this comfortable? Now, Cancer is also a cardinal sign, though, so it's definitely not a sign that's against change. So Cancer and Aries in this square, they're both happy with change, but I guess with Cancer, it would have to be change that feels good. So this square is almost just checking that, because the planets in Aries can be, in Aries energy, they can be a lot more aggressive. They might be adventurous. They might want a passionate new start. And I guess this is just a way of making sure that you don't get carried away and get yourself caught up in anything that's really extreme or really ridiculous. So you are just getting this little point of tension, I guess, to make sure that the changes that are coming in are changes that are going to feel good. Now, Mars in Virgo is, as I said, sextiling the planets in Cancer, and that is a supportive influence. And the other main thing to say there is that Mars is actually the ruling planet of Aries. So even though there is this square, those planets in Aries are under the influence of Mars. So I feel like this is confirming that this new moon is an important checkpoint, because we're going to establish the framework for this new beginning. As I said before, Mars in Virgo would be very much about setting things up in terms of routines and structures. So yeah, this is the framework. What is the framework we're going to be operating in? Virgo, like I said, is an earth sign. It's very much going to be dealing with the practicalities of what's being proposed. So I feel like it's a tension, it's a point of tension, but I feel like it's ultimately a good thing, because we can work out if the changes we're trying to make are going to be good changes for us, and if they are, then that's going to influence the way we set things up for the future. And the fact that I feel like I might have already said that, so I'll just move along. But the main thing is to think about how we want things to go. So I feel like the overall story now is that we definitely want change and we feel ready for change. But I guess we're being asked to define the changes that we want to see. What changes do we want? What changes do we not want? Because the truth is, when we say we want change, what we really mean is that we want positive change that makes us feel happier and more fulfilled. We don't just want random change. We actually want change that feels good. So we might want to move into a nicer house, for example, but we don't necessarily want to move to the other side of town or the other side of the world, where we're not going to see our friends and family as much. And similarly, we might want a higher income, but we don't necessarily want to be working all the time and feeling really stressed out just to make more money. So think about the changes you'd like to see, and try and qualify them so that you know, this is what I want, but I don't necessarily want that. So when you're setting your intentions, just, keep it very real, because I'm sure we'd all like to live in a nicer house and have more money, but keep it real. Do you really want your life to change dramatically, or do you just want those small changes in some easy way that's accomplishable for you? Think about the changes that will make your life better, and the changes that will make your life feel better. So that's your challenge, guys, and so get brainstorming with those new moon intentions. Now, I should also say those planets in Aries are receiving a lot of support as well, because there are two minor grand trines here that involve Saturn and Neptune. So the first one's been around for a while, and that's the minor grand trine involving Pluto and Uranus, and so that's one of them. And then the other grand trine is involving Mercury and Uranus. So those are all showing up as little blue triangles on this graph here, or chart here. So of these planets, so we've got the ones involved here are Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Mercury. So of these planets, it's only Mercury that's a personal planet. Now, as I mentioned, all of these outer planets have been working together for a little while. So this is interesting to have a personal planet involved at this new moon. So Mercury is the one that relates to our mind. So we might actually be getting some insights into the grand plan that these big outer planets have been working on, because we usually don't. Outer planets are, a little bit too far away for us to really know what effect they're going to be having, or what changes were going to be brought in by those planets doing things. But here we have Mercury coming into it, so maybe there are some insights that we will gain from that. Now, I've got Venus highlighted in green, and there's a sextile there between Venus and the North Node in Pisces, and that's shown in grey, the nodal axis. So Venus is another benefic planet as well, and it's relating to our divine feminine aspect. So this is going to be about energies that are loving, nurturing, and creative, and they're working with our North Node, which is, of course, about our life purpose. So there are a few other things going on. So I'll just quickly mention that we have Mercury squaring Chiron. So Mercury is highlighted in blue on the right-hand side of this chart, so to the right of those new moon planets. And it's squaring Chiron, which I haven't highlighted, but it's in the Aries part of the chart on the left. And Mercury is also approaching an opposition to Pluto. So I feel like with both of these aspects, there are going to be things that we might experience as challenges to our perspectives on things. Now, Chiron is healing our sense of self, and Pluto is currently retrograde in Aquarius. So it is transforming our perspectives on how we relate to the collective, is what I feel. So, like I said, some things that might feel mentally a bit challenging, a bit uncomfortable. So, there's just one more thing to mention as well, and I'll just flick over to the next slide to talk about that. Okay, so this is the same chart. I've just removed some of the details from before, but I've highlighted something else here. So we have here 2 yods. They're called yods, and what they're also known as is the finger of God or the finger of fate. So there are 2 of them in this chart. I've marked them here with those thick black lines, and essentially these are those isosceles triangle formations. So they're formed because of a sextile between 2 parts of the chart, and then a quincunx to a third part of the chart. So the first yod here is running between these planets in the new moon conjunction. And they are obviously, we know, with their sextile to Mars in Virgo, but there's a quincunx formed because of where Pluto is in the chart. And the second yod has a sextile between the planets in Aries, Saturn and Neptune, and Pluto, and the quincunx is actually happening because of where Mars is in the chart. So these yods, they're interesting. They're often seen in the birth charts of people who've been quite well known or successful in some field. Now, the sextile aspect obviously represents energies that are working well together, and that third point that comes in because of the quincunx is like the area that creates the tension or challenge that needs to be worked through. Now, I'm more familiar with yods in the context of natal charts, so I won't spend too long trying to explain what they might mean here in this chart. Maybe there are some real astrologers who've put out videos explaining what this is all about, but what I'm feeling in relation to this chart is that, again, there are these 2 points of tension here, and you might want to have a look at your birth chart to just see where you have these points. So one is 4 degrees of Virgo and the other one is 3 degrees of Aquarius, and have a look at which houses these are relating to, because there might be certain challenges or tensions in these houses. And because of those references to the finger of God or finger of fate, these might be areas where you're being pushed to grow and evolve and transform. So it could be quite interesting how or what happens with our journeys with these points in our chart. I will leave it there, and we'll just move to the tarot section next and see what comes up there. Sometimes I find the tarot section kind of zooms in on a particular aspect and declares that as the one we should pay attention to. So we'll see if that happens here as well. Okay, so this here is the spread that I got for this Cancer new moon. If you're interested in the decks I've used, I will have them listed in the description box. So I thought I'd start with the Queen of the Sun Oracle because of how the solstice is related to how much sunlight we get. And it's so interesting to get this card titled Mental Health. So that's to do with how common it is to get sad when there's not much sunlight around. Now, sad is obviously talking about the blues, but it's also an acronym for seasonal affective disorder. So this card showing up might mean that this is relating more to people in the southern hemisphere right now. I live in a subtropical part of Australia, but further south in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and South America, I guess I might be getting a lot less daylight at this time. So I personally am prone to sad. So even an overcast day without sunlight, I can feel that, you know, my energy levels kind of sink. And if we have a run of rainy overcast days, I do start feeling down. So I am someone who does need sunshine. So I guess I can definitely relate. And even though I'm not somewhere with very low levels of light, I can definitely understand how that would have a big impact on people. So for those of us who do get a little sad in winter, I'm going to say that just some reassuring messages, like winter is only 3 months, so it's about 90 days. We can definitely all do the countdown to springtime together. Now, I decided, because of this mental health card, that we'd use a sun-themed tarot deck as well. So that's just injecting a bit of extra sunshine into the spread. And I guess it's not going to be an issue for people in the Northern Hemisphere right now because it's a little bit of extra sunshine and it's not going to go. You probably won't even notice it because you've got all the sunshine happening in your summer. Now, I'll get into the tarot cards, which is where I normally start. So I'll start at the bottom of the deck. The card there is the Hierophant. And this is Taurus energy, and it relates to tradition and the established order of things. It's obviously also the card that speaks of a religious leader or spiritual teacher. Now, it's interesting to look at this card and see the sun and the moon on it. Very fitting for the new moon because obviously we do have the sun and the moon together in the astrology. I think the astrology had Venus and Uranus as the planets in Taurus, and I'm just thinking because this is the Taurus card. And Venus is actually the ruling planet for Taurus, and it was sextiling the North Node, I think. So I'm not sure if any of that's going to be relevant to this reading, but I'm just noticing that the crystal I chose for this spread is a star, and I do often think of the North Node when I see the star. So maybe that aspect is important here in this spread, but we'll see where the reading goes and see if there's a connection. If there is, it's going to show up. So we'll see. Now, the card in the past position is the Five of Pentacles, and this pretty much is the card of feeling left out in the cold. It's typically a winter scene with people who seem really hopeless and feel like they have nowhere to go. And this card's fairly typical of the imagery that we normally see. So there's a church behind these people, the lights are on, and they could go there for some warmth and shelter and respite, but they're really not even noticing it. So it's a bit, it's very much talking about people who are feeling hopeless. Now, that definitely goes with that mental health card showing up, doesn't it? So I might just go and talk about that oracle card now. It has a deity called, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Beavi, Beaivi, Beavi, I think. And she is a sun deity that relates to the Sami people, who are the indigenous people who live around the North Pole in countries like Finland, Norway, Sweden, and Russia. So this is all new to me. I've not even heard of that group of people before. So it's been an educational little bit of research. But Beavi is the goddess of the sun, spring, and fertility. And because these people live in a part of the world that does experience very low levels of light in the winter, BAV is also connected to mental health. So maybe some of us sad people could print off an image of BAV to bless us in our homes. From the articles I looked at, she's depicted as very gorgeous. So you might not regret having a picture of her in your home. But anyway, as I said that, I just realized there is something I've been doing recently, and that is lighting a candle at night. So we don't have fireplaces where I live. It's not cold enough, but it's been nice to light a candle. And obviously candles aren't going to physically warm you up, but there's something very warm about that glowing, flickering flame that is quite uplifting. Now, I haven't done this in previous winters, but maybe this is a way to bring some light and fire energy into our homes in winter. I've got some pretty tea light holders, so they make it a little bit more special. So you can get those, there are some with sort of coloured or textured glass walls, or the ones I have are like metal ones that have little apertures for the light to shine through. And I've just got these, either on the dining table or the coffee table, and with them lit up while we're sitting there. It's actually been really nice. So maybe that's something to try if you're someone who does get sad in winter. It might just be something that, makes us feel nice. But anyway, sorry for that random suggestion. I just happened to look up and I saw my candle burning and it felt like something I should share. Maybe it's meant for someone who's watching this. The card in the present position is the Knight of Wands, and that's an action card. So I think this might be you guys rushing out to buy tea light candles and pretty tea light candle holders because I've now inspired you to do that. Good for you guys. Get on that horse and get moving. So I'm kidding. It's probably not that, but you are definitely, with this card, you're getting on your horse to do something, or someone is getting on their horse to take some action on something. Now, this is fire sign energy, and I was just talking about bringing fire into our homes. How interesting. But this is fire sign energy. I would tend to see it as the Sagittarian energy, and it's good to see that because this is definitely not someone who's in a hopeless energy. This is quite a driven energy. Now, in terms of what you're taking action on, it looks like it's love or romance. So yeah, that's a plot twist. I really wasn't expecting that in this reading, but I got 2 oracle cards that, I was like, oh, really? So the first one came out, the Soulmate Alchemy card. And then I felt guided to go to a love deck. This one's called the True Love Oracle. And I got this card, Dating. So the love deck actually has a lot of cards that aren't directly related to romance, but really the card that has shown up here is definitely romantic. It's got the image on it that's quite romantic, the keyword dating. Like, you can't really interpret that any other way. And the other interesting thing I noticed was when I had my decks out, the Love Oracle deck and the Tarot deck both had the motif of 2 swans facing each other. That's a very romantic symbol when you think about it, because we do associate, swans with lasting commitment, So yeah, maybe that's another confirmation that these cards aren't wrong. They are meant to be here. So something's happening here, and it's pushing you from this cold, lonely, isolated experience and urging you towards the warmth of connection with someone special. The Soulmate Alchemy card makes me feel like this is someone that you've experienced a period of estrangement from. So perhaps someone you broke up with, or maybe someone you haven't seen for a long time. Alchemy is obviously a process where something's transformed into something better. And so if that's happened to a soulmate connection, it's going to end up bringing 2 people closer together again. So maybe that cold, lonely period of time was something that made people reflect on what they had in the past. So the card itself, the Soulmate Alchemy card, reads embracing loving presence. And I think it's someone's loving presence that's been sorely missed through that cold winter period of isolation. And so now there's this urge to reconnect with that person, a strong urge. The Knight of Wands archetype, they're passionate and determined to get what they want. So I'm not sure if this is you or if this is someone else, but whoever this is, they're rushing towards the person that they want to get to. They're showing up with intent. And in the dating card, we see a man offering a woman some flowers, and she's looking really moved by the gesture. And as I look at that image, I'm thinking of the traditional Six of Cups card in the tarot, because there's a little boy there, I think, giving flowers to a little girl. And that is actually a card that's about nostalgia, and it's also about soulmates. So this does feel like it's a soulmate from the past who's approaching you or you're approaching them, but it's a positive meeting. And with that energy of nostalgia, I think this is someone you have thought about a lot and missed a lot. And wow, I just looked at the numbers on the Oracle cards. So there are two that are 8 and 8, and then the other card is 16. So I'm thinking of the infinity symbol with the 8s. So I feel like this is real love on both sides. Your feelings have definitely stood the test of time. You know, your feelings for each other have stood the test of time. 16 is always a number that makes me think of the Tower card, and that's something that brings sudden, unexpected changes. And to follow on with that, the card in the future position is the Wheel of Fortune card. Now, that's a Jupiter card, and we did have Jupiter conjunct the new moon in the astrology. The Wheel of Fortune card is fate, luck, destiny, divine timing, all of that. And as I say that, I mean, we had Jupiter conjunct the new moon, but we had 2 yods as well. So who knows? Who knows what's going to go on? But it might be a little bit crazy, a little bit unexpected is what I'm getting. And now I'm thinking back to my interpretation of the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck, because the Hierophant is also seen as a marriage card because of its, you know, its relationship to traditional structures and what's the word? Institutions, traditional institutions like marriage. So it can also be seen as a marriage card. So I do feel like this reunion could quickly lead to lasting commitment. And as I say that, I'm thinking about the double swans. I might actually add a picture of that to the end slide maybe, so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, now the scene with the flowers, the dating card, it's making me think of springtime. There are a lot of flowers blooming, so it's definitely not winter. And I think I can see red tulips in the picture as well. So that's a flower I do associate with springtime. And the goddess BAV, she was also a goddess of spring. So maybe the timing is spring. Such a weird reading, isn't it? Like, I wasn't expecting romance at all for a lunar reading, because I do tend to see these as a collective reading, but I guess I don't have a huge collective, and certainly not everyone watches the lunar reading, so maybe this is going to resonate for some of the people that do end up watching this. I can sometimes see alternate interpretations of love and soulmate cards, but in this spread, that word dating makes it quite specific to romance, and we had the double swans and the Hierophant card alluding to marriage, so I really don't think I can interpret this any other way. So maybe Venus sextiling the North Node is about the influence on love, of love on your life path. But anyway, if this is your story and it's about reconnecting with the love of your life, that really is a wonderful story. So very positive reading. But for the rest of us, I'm not too sure. We'll see, I guess, what this new moon impact will be for us. But that's it, guys. Okay, so we're done now. I've just got the 2 pictures from the 2 decks of the swans facing each other. How synchronistic is that? And really tying in with a tarot spread where we're talking about soulmates coming together for perhaps a lasting union. I think that's very, very synchronistic. Now, if you're still here, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please give it a like or leave a comment. And if you like the videos I make, please consider subscribing to the channel, and a big thank you to everyone who is already subscribed. Your support means a lot to me. And that's it, everyone. I hope to see you all at another reading. Be sure to make those new moon intentions. I feel like it's quite an auspicious time with Jupiter being conjunct this new moon. But yeah, take care, everyone, and I'll see you in another reading, I hope. See you. Bye.